Welcome back to Ta-da 3D printing. Okay, we are on the last chapter of the Prusa XL enclosure build. We get to finally put the enclosure on the machine and attach it and be done. So this is difficulty moderate, 16 steps. Step 1 is get one thing of tools, the Allen key. So we are going to set the enclosure in place. All right, on the assembled enclosure, we're going to have the lid open, grasp it on the front, on the support plate, and on the back, the filtration cover, so the box. And then we're going to set it in place. There's some brackets here that, if I understand correctly, these brackets here need to be on the inside. That's what it looks like to me. So the main thing, I think, because I'm going to be doing this by myself, is going to be the height. So I am going to remove these buttons. Just set them down. I mean, I don't think anything's going to get pinched that way. I just want to give myself a little bit of buffer with that height. Especially all the way in the corners. Just a little bit of buffer. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Oh, you probably couldn't see much of that because I have this up. But yeah, that took the height down quite a bit. Okay. Grab this. And I think that's going to help a lot in trying to maneuver this thing. And here we go. Okay. And it doesn't seem like it wants to get. Okay, there we go. Ooh, that fits pretty good, actually. This next step that says, push it all the way towards the front and the back, there really is just not, there's no slack towards the front at all. I feel like the way that everything's notched, I feel like it fits. It fits. Like, yes, you could scoot it back a little bit, but I mean, you're not going to push it forward and push it off. I like that fit of the top a lot better. The bellows felt a little like, scooch back a little. The bellows, when you're bringing this up, it was like here, and where it hits just felt a little off, or it could be off because the magnet could catch it anywhere. So I like the way that the metal pieces, the brackets and everything, fit into each other. It doesn't just feel like you've got, flat pieces on flat pieces. And of course, you're going to have to line up the holes, but just interesting. Okay, well, let me look and see how to line up the holes. And I'll probably just, I guess I'll set these back in just to make everything look pretty. Yeah, you can see why when you're putting this on, especially my cables all the way on the right, I mean, it would be just about impossible if I hadn't popped those cables off, even if I'd had somebody to help. The way that my cables kind of on both sides just Y out, it would have been very easy to smash them. So I'm glad that I did that. Okay, let's see what the next step is here. All right, align the holes for the screws. Let's look for that. Okay, so I just talked about what a great fit everything was. I do feel like there's a little bit of like give here, but I mean, obviously once we secure those with screws, that will be fine. These look pretty good from what I can see so far. Okay, so I think we're close enough on the holes. Let's see. Step 4, M4x8 screws. Ooh, we need 4 of these. And I am wondering if we are pretty close to being done with all of our fasteners here. Front side securing. Step 5. From the front side of the enclosure, secure the left bottom corner with the screw to the fixing bracket using the Allen key, and then secure the right corner. We are going in here. I don't know, maybe the light's just too bright. Oh, I think you can kind of see my dog on the floor in the corner over here. That's Roxy taking a nap. Just Roxy today because Spite is at the vet. So it's just me and Rox today putting together the enclosure. Okay, we got the left side done. Right side. Okay, let's see. Close the lid. To prevent the lid from closing by gravity during handling. All right. I don't want anything getting slammed. Step 6, rear side securing. From the rear side of the printer, secure the left bottom corner with another screw. So there's 2 on the back left, but that's it? There is only one over here and the other one's at the other side. That's partly why I pulled this out, was because I thought there was something back here, but this screw that I thought I was seeing in the picture is already there. So, okay. The instructions are incorrect. It says left twice, and it is not left twice. I guess that is one benefit of having live comments and being able to update things on the website, is that Prusa can adjust things like this. If it's a printed thing that they ship out in the box, it's going to be a little bit trickier to modify things that are already printed. All right. There we go. Got that side. And I'll make sure everything's tightened in the front now. Okay, I think it had said to close the lid. All right. Now we need to put the enclosure cables in step 7, which I'm sure is all the way on the back. Okay, I'm kind of turned. All right. Take the fan cable, the one with 4 wires, and connect the end of the cable to the right connector on the FDM XL enclosure splitter. 4 wire needs to go to the right. 4 wire needs to go to the right. Okay. And then of course the 5 wire needs to go right next to it. Okay. Step 8. We need to find that last little piece of wire. There's not a whole lot left in this box, but I think that's all that's left in the box This is the cable that we're looking for. And we need some screws. Okay, don't move on yet. M4 by 5R screw. There was a few things that kept falling out when I would move things. Okay, we've got the cable, we've got the zip tie. We need an M4 by 5R screw. I'm guessing that it's one of these little fat guys, but I want to make sure. I don't want to use the wrong thing. Okay. I am going to assume that that is correct. Looks like the right length. I've been using same one that I've been using, so okay. Yep. Step 9, PE cable securing. Insert an M4 by 5R screw through the terminal as shown in the image. Be very careful. Secure the cable by tightening the screw. All right, so we're putting the circle side first. We're taking the cable. Mine does not have a red end. And we want the screw side through this direction. And then we want to put it on the machine right there. Going down. So kind of flat so that it faces, or can get up close to the machine. Basically. Attach the PE fastening to the XL enclosure board cover. Looks like it's smooth side out. That's what I'm going to assume. And secure everything with a zip tie. It's interesting that they show way more cables for this. Step 10 was the cables. It makes me wonder if I have a bunch of slack of cables inside that I was supposed to move to the outside. I don't see any. I mean, we ran it all over the place. I'm just gonna zip tie these puppies together. I'm not even, what's the point? I guess I could loop these. Yeah, I'll loop them and make them a little, let's loop them and make them a little purty. Sure. That'll work. Get them to be as flat as possible, maybe. Yeah, okay. And Wi-Fi parts preparation. Clearly, I already put mine back on. I just thought I needed to do that on an earlier step. Serial number sticker. And where does that need to go? Oh, it's supposed to go here. Oh, mine wasn't perfectly straight. Oh well. So I've moved the XL and the enclosure back into my print shed. This is where I am going to have it printing. So I decided that before I run the tension, I also am going to run the calibration test, that it would make the most sense to have it back in its permanent home rather than move it right after doing all those tests. So this thing is massive. Now that it's back in my shed, I'm realizing with the enclosure, it's kind of difficult to even get this in a shot because it's so gigantic. So we are on to step 15, first run. From the rear side of the printer, plug in the PSU cable. So that has been plugged in. I'm doing good with that. Plugged in on both sides. Now we can turn this on and see if we get any errors. Okay, that's not what I was hoping to find, but not really a surprise. Let me see what that QR code is telling me. Okay, so that's just a loss of power. So resetting it should be okay. And I'm probably gonna need to update my firmware anyways. So yeah, we turn the power switch on. Now I need to upgrade to the latest firmware. Okay, so I have 6.1.3. Let me check if that's the most recent one. It looks like as of this recording, 6.1.3 is the latest. 6.1.3, that's what I said I had, right? Yeah, okay, so I think I'm good on the firmware. So I think now we're just gonna have to adjust the belt tension. So on my phone, I just went to Prusa Belt Tuner and I'm gonna go to XL. Tap to enable microphone. So to tune the belt, we need to have this in line with the Z. Yep. This side, or it shows it with a single tool head, but I would imagine it doesn't matter that my tool heads have all been docked. So this needs to go all the way to the left. And we need to be in between 6 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's a little too tight. So I'm gonna assume that I go to the left to loosen it. I'm gonna do like a quarter turn and see if that's enough. Okay, so it's still saying it's a little too tight. I do want to move this and just kind of make sure it's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, still saying a little too tight. Oh, I need to make sure I'm not touching anything here. Okay, that's good. Now we will push it all the way this way and count on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's saying it's just right. So they both feel pretty similar. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the enclosure on. Enclosure settings. Enclosure settings. Okay, I mean, it looks like it's on. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and do the tower or the test, but I am going to run through all the calibrations. I moved this twice to completely separate rooms, so I am going to run through all the calibrations again just because I want to be very sure. Okay, so the last time that this happened to me, I had been swapping the nozzles between 0.6 and 0.4, and my fan didn't pass. I contacted Prusa, and they told me to remove the fan shroud and run it again. I was hoping that by changing out the fan shrouds to this newer filament, that it would do better. Looks like now I have 2 of them that are not going through. So I just wanted to run this through a couple times just to see if I was getting consistent results. But since it looks like I am having that issue, I'm gonna remove those shrouds and see if that helps. Yeah, looks like both the first and the third. So let's see if that can fix anything for me. And rather than completely remove these off of the hot ends like we had before, I am just going to remove them enough that I can pop these off. I need to get the right tool though. Removing the fan shrouds from tool head 1 and 3 worked. Those ones passed. For some reason, when I reran the test, the tool head 5 didn't pass. So then I removed the fan shroud from that one, and after that, it passed. Let me know if you guys are having any issues with your fan shrouds or if it's just me. Okay, that's really exciting. Now I can continue on. And I'm just gonna leave the fan shrouds off for the rest of the calibration, and I'm gonna decide whether I even feel like putting them back on. Okay, so I have made it through all of the calibrations. I forgot that now that we have the phase stepping calibration, it does take quite a bit longer to get through all the calibrations, but it's done. I passed everything, and I realized that I probably should have put these fan shrouds back on right after I passed. So I'm thinking, since all of the other steps and calibrations have been done, I'm not going to put them back on. I'm just going to leave these 3 off. Everything else has been calibrated that I don't really want to do again. So let me know what you guys are doing with your fan shrouds. And now I'm just going to move on to printing the homing tower. I am running the 0.4 nozzle, so that one does run, I think it's like 2.5 hours, so that one should be pretty quick. I had been using this setup for my Wise camera, but that is clearly not going to work. Now I'm going to hit on, especially when I have the camera there, and it's probably, even if I set it up afterwards, probably going to get a weird glare to get my time lapses. So I'm probably going to need to figure out something that can go inside now that I have the enclosure. So let me know what you guys are doing for cameras for time lapse now that you have the enclosure, what your options are. It does seem like there is ways to, of course, run wiring up inside here. So have to look into that. This was just a G code, which I don't really like. I like being able to look at it in Slicer and make adjustments, especially if the PLA that I'm using is a different brand. I use Overture rather than Prusa, but I'm going to go ahead and run this and just see how it goes. And I only have it on tool head 1. And the first thing I'm noticing as I get this going is it's a little louder because the fan kicked on. The fan on the enclosure kicked on as soon as I kicked on the printer, which is cool. It's cool that it automatically does that. It knows what it's, it's integrated. It's not a lot louder, but it is interesting that that is a little bit of a change. I started the print at 8:28 and checked on it after 11, expecting it to be done, but even though it said that it had ended at 10:54, it was also saying it was only 41% done, still had an hour and a half to go. I checked on it several times throughout the afternoon, and I was really wishing that I had a camera set up, but it did look like it was making progress, and then finally I did get a notification that it had finished, and that was at 3:49. So instead of being about 2.5 hours, it was closer to 7.5 hours. I'm not really sure why it took so long. So let's see how this extremely long homing tower turned out. I did use a silver PLA because I felt like that would show a lot of defects really easily, and I've noticed that it'll also skip pretty easily. It'll show if there's any skips, but I feel like this turned out really good. I don't see any layer shifts. I don't see any gaps. I don't really even see any zits from the seams. The only thing I will say I see is just very lightly along the bottom. It almost looks like there's a little bit of a line, but overall it looks really good. I don't know if it's supposed to have this kind of spot on the inside where it almost looks like it strings, but it looks really smooth. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start printing with this. Let me know if your homing tower looks like this and if it took as long as this, and let me know overall your thoughts on this enclosure and how it turned out for you. Thanks for watching.